wonderful folks. This is Joe Flint, all one word, like a tribe called Quest, here on the People's Choice on WCEG Network, the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. Ladies and gentlemen, we're excited. We have a wonderful guest with us this evening. I've learned so much about him just in the short time that we've been chatting. And it's good to know a native. It's so hard to find us from time and time again, but I often tell people, especially the implants, the people that are not from Atlanta, I say the natives, we meet once a month to talk about the implants. So, so I want to welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Rian Trotter from the great city of Fairburn, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, and I want to thank you right away for just speaking that into existence, calling me councilman. I'm a candidate for now.
Candidate. Yes.
But hey,
Well, there you go. That's how
I
it goes.
received that. I
There you
received
go.
that.
That's how it goes. Listen. I've already put it on you, so just be ready to walk
Hey,
right into it.
I'll
So
take it.
let me ask you this. I want to just jump right into this. I understand a little bit about your background and where you're from, but how did you go from, being raised in the Atlanta, South Fulton area region to now wanting to be an elected official in the area? What has brought you to that place?
Well, I'll tell you first off, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to you, Brother Flint, and also the WCEG Network for allowing me to just shine a spotlight on Fairburn. We're the South Side, and
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
the South Side gets looked over.
Yeah.
But you guys have just been so gracious to allow me to speak and just share. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
But for me, just being a Grady baby,
Got it.
I have my roots are right here in Atlanta.
Yes.
My family did a pretty traditional migration. To my understanding, we lived in Southwest Atlanta. I lived in Kings Ridge for a while off of
Oh,
Campbellton Road.
yeah.
See, only real Atlanta gonna know about that. So you,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep. So we were there for a while, and then we moved from there to College Park
Gotcha.
at a time when College Park was pretty nice, pretty middle class, and
Yeah.
a lot of families were migrating to College Park and Riverdale,
Right.
and so that's where I spent most of my time growing up, and then from there. And this was kind of the pivotal point for me. Middle school, eighth grade, I was kind of going down the wrong path, and I was zoned for school with the same guys.
Did you say
And my
zone? Did
mom,
you say zone four?
I was on four. No, I
Oh,
was on four. I was zoned
okay,
four.
okay.
Yep, but I was to go to a high school with all of the knucklehead buddies
Gotcha,
that I had that
gotcha,
I grew
gotcha.
up with. But I had an opportunity to go to Creekside High School in Fairburn, Georgia,
Yes.
and kind of what like my mom told me, she was like, you just have to change. You have to pretty much reinvent yourself. And so, just that transition, new environment, new opportunities, just in a space where it's like nobody was holding me to be in, any kind of way, just a fresh start. And so I flourished in Creekside. I turned into a completely different person, scholar, athlete, all of those things. And so for me, that's where my love with Fairburn started. My wife is also from Fairburn as well.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I went into college. And so for me, I went to Payne College in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
Very small HBCU, but
Oh,
great institution of higher learning.
yeah.
We actually have a guy from Payne College that's running for governor right now, Michael Thurman.
Yes.
And so we also have ties to Lester Jackson and some other state representatives. And so for a small school, I feel like we pack a punch.
Oh, yeah.
Being involved in Payne College is kind of where my community engagement stuff started, because everything with HBCU, especially in the city of Augusta, we're one with the community. And so, we do all our voter drives, our blood drives, our toy drives, our food drive. We drove everything there is to drive. And then we would also do things like adopt the Boys and Girls Club and
Yeah.
just go out. We did mentorship programs and all of those things. And so graduated from Payne College, returned back home to Atlanta, and then I started a nonprofit business where I taught kids about financial literacy. And so what we did was we targeted 13 to 16-year-olds, try to catch them, 17 right before they can sign up for a credit card,
Right.
and just kind of teach them all of the things that I wish I knew before I went off to college.
It's funny you should mention that, and I don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
I
you're good.
literally was having this conversation with my siblings the other day about how, and this is no pun or nothing negative against my parents or grandparents or anything like that, but they didn't teach us financial literacy. They didn't teach us the value of a dollar or anything like that. I saw them get up and go to work every day, pay for the things that needed to be paid for, but nobody said, hey, this is what a dollar can buy. This is what,
Hmm.
$10 can buy. When you have this, you need to set this aside. Nobody had these conversations with me. So to know that you were doing that with that age bracket is huge, because although, we sometimes think that children aren't paying attention, but I often quote this, that children learn what they live.
Yep.
So if this is what they're being taught, if this is what's being brought into their home, then of course, it'll be something that they'll grow up into. So I just wanted to give you kudos for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. And it really was just out of just kind of seeing it for
right,
myself. Like,
right.
okay, people don't know these things.
No, no.
I'm working at a bank. I'm teaching adults this stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
right,
okay, let
right.
me put together some curriculum to
Yeah,
where I can go out to a school, on a Saturday and say, hey,
right.
have some kids meet me. I'll tell you, the people who opened their arms to me the most were always the athletic programs, the coaches,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
football
yeah.
coaches, the
Oh, yeah.
basketball coaches. They will always say, "Hey, come talk to my guys."
Right.
The churches, and then also I had a great partnership with the Cap County Police,
Okay.
because the Cap County Police has what they call the POWER program, which is a police athletic league.
Hmm.
And so they were already doing some engagement where they would play sports and stuff with the kids, and
Okay.
they would bring me in to come
That's
and teach financial literacy.
that's
Yep.
really good. That's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the coolest part about that too was when the parents showed up.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
you would kind of catch them in the back of the room and they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
they're kind of taking notes too
Listen, I was
because they
just about
didn't
to
get
say they're trying
it.
not to let you see, but they're using their phone, their notes on their phone, like I'm writing this down.
Right.
So
And I would catch them
everybody knows.
sometime.
Yeah.
I can be silly sometimes. So sometimes I'll be talking about credit. And I say, yeah, the worst thing you can do is have your parent put a gas bill in your name or something like
Right.
that. And
Right.
you kind of see the parent like,
Listen, you don't know how many Shaquishas or Nikki's or Nicole or Johns, on a power bill. So Ryan,
Yep.
I appreciate knowing that you have community. Your hands have been to the plow, right? Like
Yep.
you've been in the community working and trying to ensure that our future is up to speed. And I say our future because I didn't always understand this, but we're in the same age bracket. So I didn't always understand this, but I truly know more now that our future truly lies in the ones that follow behind us. Um,
Absolutely.
I have 4 children myself, 2 of which are adults, and one is on the way. And then I messed around and started all over again. But watching them and now having 2 grandchildren, understanding that life, it's a part of me, but that life is going to be the future of whatever's ahead. And so,
Hmm.
being able to pour that back into the youth is a huge thing. So that brings me to your candidacy, right, for councilman for the city of Fairburn. How does that translate into you being able to be an effective council member, not only for the people in your community, but encouraging them to be not only financially liter, uh, literate, but also politically literate? Because what I've come to know in all my years of dealing in politics and loving it is that very few people understand the scope of this thing. All they know is it's election day. I got to go and vote. Most people only vote during the general election of the presidency. I always
Hmm.
tell this story, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder at all,
Oh,
but I
no, no,
always
you're
tell this
good.
story. When I lived in Michigan, I was campaigning there and for a state representative, and we were knocking on doors, and a gentleman, this was midterm elections, and a gentleman opened his door and said, I'm good, I'm voting for Obama. I said, sir, this is midterm. Mr. President Obama was elected, 2 years ago. This is a completely different,
Mhm.
but that story always resonates in my head because people only generally think of the presidential election. Of course, if they're engaged in their cities, in their community, they kind of know that, you got to elect a mayor, but nobody really thinks about the council member seat. And not because they don't know it's there, but because they don't know the power that lies in that seat. They don't understand that this is the one who's creating the policy for their community. So I'm saying all that to say, how do you transition with your banking background and, of course, with your real estate background into now serving the people of Fairburn?
You set up a heck of a segue, man.
Yeah.
Because it does all tie together for
Yeah.
me. I mean, I can't tell my story without those portions of it,
Right.
because
Right.
banking does play a part, creating that financial literacy does play a part.
Yeah.
Real estate plays a huge part,
Right.
because that was my eye-opening experience to see that sometimes things that happen on certain sides of town can
Right.
be a little bit different. And so
Absolutely.
that bothered me, because I want to see consistency across the board.
Right.
Also, when, with the real estate thing, just I'm talking to families on the front end. So I know what families are looking for. They're
Right.
looking for safety. They're
Yeah.
looking for affordability. They're looking for education,
Right. Right.
and then also when they're in their homes, I know the things that keep them up at night, which is
Right.
typically safety, which is
Right.
typically
Right. Right.
affordability. And so
Right.
there's a deeper, I think, understanding by working in that space. I was able to help 48 families move to the city of Fairburn over the last 6 years.
Okay.
And so, in a way, I'm always like kind of recruiting people to come here.
Right. Right.
But I will say this, the other thing you mentioned like the youth. That's a huge motivator for me. I have 3 kids
Yeah.
that are looking up to me, and I'm like, I gotta set the tone. I gotta set the
Absolutely.
tone, and I have to walk the walk.
Yeah.
And I want to show them what political engagement looks like.
Yeah.
Now you say you're from Atlanta, so you might know this. My mom had a polling precinct for over 20 years.
Okay.
It was the old George High School.
Right.
And I believe it's South Atlanta High School. It
Correct.
transitioned to South Atlanta High School.
Correct.
So while I was a kid, we were going
And
to the,
so here's the thing: it's not even South Atlanta anymore now. You know what it
what
is?
is it now?
Maynard Jackson.
Goodness.
But continue.
The only thing consistent is change, man.
Right.
But that I didn't realize at the time how much that planted a seed inside of me
Yeah.
that you are supposed to be involved.
Yeah.
And so we'd get up early, we'd go set up the equipment, and everything, and we'd put our signs up. And
Right.
that was a long day. We were there from maybe 6 a.m. to
Oh, yeah.
8 o'clock at night, wrapping things up. And
Yeah.
then another thing, to your point, the presidential elections, we had a ton of people show up,
Right.
but all of the local elections, it was minimal. And so I learned that at a young age
Yeah.
as well. And so I think it's important. Well, for me, I'll just say this: all of those things tie together. Me being from this community and now raising kids in this community, I think I have a different vantage point.
Okay.
My vantage point is one to say, okay, Fairburn is here to stay.
Yeah.
And I see what everywhere else in the city of Atlanta is doing. And I want all of those good resources here in my community.
Right.
I want to be able to shop in my community so that we can reinvest our dollars, because I know what that
Right.
looks like.
Right.
I want to hold builders accountable to making quality construction when they do build in our community. I want to make sure they're paying their fair share to play
Right.
in our
Right.
city. So we want to tax properly. And so there's a lot of things that I want to bring. It's just a matter of, for me, it's, a lot of people run out of frustration for something. And for me, it's
Right.
like, now
True.
it's the labor of love.
Yeah.
Fairburn has given me so much. And it's like, okay, it's time. It's time to step up.
Brian, you just said something so incredible there. So many people run for office out of frustration. That is, and again, I've been in this thing forever, but I've never heard that statement. And that is the truest thing I've ever heard. Not everybody is running because they actually want to make a difference. Many are running because they're tired of seeing things, and they figure maybe I need to be the change that there is. And again, I'm a firm believer that plays a part in all of it. But
Yes.
really, most people run out of frustration. Not enough people are running for office because they actually want to be engaged in promoting a city, promoting the community, promoting the things. Most of it is out of frustration. I don't know if you know, but we host a lot of political, not shows, but a lot of political forums. And I see that every single day. They're saying they're running for X, Y, and Z, but quite often much of the conversation boils down to, I'm tired of seeing this. I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing this. But I can honestly say, Ryan, I haven't heard you say that. And the tie between the real estate and being able to do this role is phenomenal, because as you said, you're on the front end. You literally have the eyes and ears of everything that everybody in your community is already looking for, what they need, what they want, what they're going to want 10 years from now. And who better, again, until I'm talking to you, I didn't think about it, but who better to know this than a real estate?
Yeah,
Because
it's
they're
an interesting
there.
space.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never thought about it until then. So why now, though? Why now? Why have you decided that now is the time to engage and become involved on this level?
So the short answer is it's time.
Yeah,
It's time.
right, right.
I mean, like I said, I've been poured into.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time that my superpower is I know my history.
right,
I know
right.
where I come from.
Oh yeah.
I know the sacrifices that were
Wow.
made for me to be here.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
get here by osmosis.
Right,
And so it's time for me to step up. But that other adage where they say, you put your own mask on first,
right,
before you start helping people with the other.
right, right.
So I had to make sure that my stuff was where it needed to be. I need to make sure that my family was comfortable.
Yeah,
We still have young kids, and my wife, I couldn't do this without her. And
right.
so with her being politically inclined, she supported me. She's been pushing me and nudging me for a couple years. And then it
Oh
was
yeah.
like, okay, we're ready now, go ahead and jump in.
Yeah.
And so the other piece though that you mentioned with the real estate is that I can't hide from nobody.
No.
Like everybody knows.
Right, right,
They
right.
know me.
Yeah,
Everybody, they
yeah.
know me. I can.
Gotcha.
So I have a different level of just appreciation for people and accountability. I
Right,
have to be
right.
accountable to
Yeah.
them because hey, I trust you,
Listen, yeah, you're
So
finding me a house in the community. So yeah, I got to have some trust in you. So tell me, Ryan, what is your platform focused on?
So my platform is focused on first people over politics. So it's amazing to me that sometimes on the local level we create some of the same divides that you would see on a national level, even though we don't have the same partisanship
Right,
situations.
right.
But what you'll see sometimes in the meeting is that people kind of pick a side,
Okay.
and sometimes that can get in the way of progress, and I don't want to do that. I'm more of a connector. I'm a glue guy. I just feel like we can figure out ways to work together, and we can disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. We can argue the issues. We don't have to argue the person,
Right,
and try to at the end of the day do everything we can to push forward for the sake of the people
right,
that we're championing. And so that's my biggest thing. Second to that, I would say investment into our future, and that can be a little bit broad, but
right,
for me, it ties back to the financial literacy. It ties back to childhood early literacy, and just finding ways to because we can't go into the school and take over. That's
right.
not a role of a council member.
No, not at all.
However, I feel like we can be creative and come alongside of the school to support some of the things that they want to do. And so I believe before and after care is an area that we can assist
Right,
with.
right.
I believe that we can incentivize kids. Um, do you remember that old program called Book It?
Of course,
Okay, yeah,
of
you really are
course.
from Atlanta.
It was a
All
slip
right.
that it used to be on the slip. Yeah, of course.
Best piece I ever ate in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, because I had to read a book for
Yes, absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I had to
Listen,
read a book
dude,
for it. I had so so
you
it,
can't get more Atlanta than this Grady baby. Watch the high graduate. It's kind of hard. But yes, please continue. From the
I'm
west
quizzing
side.
you. I'm
Yeah,
slickly quizzing you just to
yeah.
make sure you're still with me.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
But I'll just use that as an example. But just finding ways to incentivize kids to take reading and education more serious. Like Creekside has a fantastic football team. They're undefeated right now.
Yeah.
We just spanked the
Good
team
job.
91-0.
Jeez.
And so, but I can tell you why they're good.
Yeah.
These kids have been playing at the park down the street since
Mhm.
they were 5 years old, and
Right.
these kids
Right.
have grown up together, and
Right.
they worked together, and they went through middle school together, and now
Yeah.
they're in high school, and it's like we're not surprised they're good. They've
Right.
been working at this their entire life.
Right.
I feel like there's a space for education to
Yeah.
get the same attention. And so
Mhm.
we have to figure that out, whether it's a writing contest, whether it's I sometimes with my literacy program, I would do like a little Shark Tank where
Yeah.
we would break everybody up into
Right.
groups and who
Right.
can come up with the best ideas.
Right.
But we have to figure out ways to just let them know that education is equally as important. And I do want to say this really
Yeah.
quickly though. Shout out to Langston Hughes High School, which is also a local high school.
Right.
To my understanding, they just won a debate program. I think it was statewide. And
Nice.
so I just want to salute them because those are the types of things that I have in mind.
Listen, I was a part of the debate team at Washington High all 4 years, so I
Okay. All right.
appreciate. And if they won the state, they were probably down in Brunswick. That's where it used to be held, down in Brunswick or in that area. We used to go to the state thing all the time. That's in Georgia history, not Atlanta history. But so something you meant. So on the line of education. Now, I don't want to hold you to the fire to this, but I have
Okay.
to ask this question. Because we see so much about education right now. And of course, I know the council member doesn't have, or the city doesn't have the bandwidth to say this, that, and the other about the education. It's run by a completely different entity.
Right.
But you and I both have been educated in the public school system.
Mhm.
Brian, I completely believe in the public school systems. I'm not against other systems, but I think that there's not enough attention or love given to public schools, and the lack thereof has caused them to decline
Hmm.
because there's not enough funding. Because every child that is taken from public school, that's money that goes into another fund for them in another area. So, and you don't have to answer this politically or anything, but do you believe that public schools still has a resurgence? Because again, our current governor has given these, I think it's a $6,500 voucher for people to be able to go to private schools. Again, I'm not
Hmm.
against it, but I know that public school works. You know why? Because hey, we got you, a successful real estate agent who is, soon to be a council member. We have, I don't know, I mean to toot my horn, but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. graduated from my high school. Dr.
Oh
Asa
yeah.
Yancey graduated from my high school. Dr. Lewis
Hmm.
Sullivan graduated from high school. All of these are public schools. I can't call them, but I know that there are several that have graduated from Creekside, and so many that have graduated from George and South Atlanta, or but just the metro area. When public schools really push forward the effort, but now we see that they are declining every single day. So I guess my question to you is how do you see your role as encouraging and pushing for public schools to still maintain their place?
Yep. I think that's a fantastic question. And I won't give you a political answer. I'll just
Yeah.
tell you just straight up, like I believe that it's layered, but I do believe that we have to come alongside of our teachers and assist them. We have to
Yeah.
listen. We can't come in and tell them what they need to be
Right.
doing.
Right.
And so I believe that like there's so many teachers that I know personally that are
Yeah.
actually doing fundraisers for
Right.
supplies.
Right.
I don't want you having to worry about that. I
Yeah.
would rather you have to be focused on your curriculum
Yeah.
and just getting the kids the things that they need. And
Yeah.
so if we can help you in that way, if I can take this off of your plate, maybe just maybe you can do better at your job as
Right.
well. I also feel like the before and after programs are extremely important.
Right.
I'm always gonna bang that drum because here it is in my household. It's myself, my wife, who's also college educated,
Right.
graduated from Mercer University,
Nice.
and we're raising our kids, and we realize that even we need more resources
Yeah.
because we're taking our child to Kumon,
Yeah.
and just so
Right.
that we can get
Right.
an extra
Right.
level of education and
Yeah.
make it a little more fun. And then instead of just hearing mom and dad, you're hearing another person
Right.
that's
Right.
all trying to, sing from the same sheet of music. And so I feel like we can help the schools in that regard as well. But when it comes down to it, for me, it really comes down to parent involvement,
Of course.
and you can tell a difference. Like
Oh yeah.
we even in high school, we knew
Oh
whose
yeah.
parents were always at
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
and those kids did very well
Yeah.
just because their parents were around.
Right.
My kids are going to a local charter school,
Okay.
and it's a great school. It's called Chattahoochee Hills Charter. It's 10 minutes
Okay.
away from us. And for us, it just the energy around the school is just
Right.
different. Dr.
Right.
Muhammad does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But I can't prove this, but this is what I believe is that because that school doesn't have school buses and because the parents have to drop the kids off and pick
Right.
the kids up,
Yeah.
it just feels like a different level of engagement with the
Yeah.
parents,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
then supports what the school is trying to
Right.
push.
Right.
And so what we have to do in spaces like that, we can't control it, but we try to encourage it.
Yeah.
We try to encourage the family involvement. We try to encourage daddy daughter donut day. They had
Right. Right.
that
Right.
one
Right.
time, daddy daughter dances.
Yeah.
And you want to do things to find ways, say, hey, we need volunteers and get the parents to come in, but you want to find a way to get the parents to understand that this is our school
Right.
and take ownership. And just even if it isn't your own parent that's there, even if other parents are there, I think it does also help the school
Yeah.
achieve their goals. But lastly, I'll say this: Atlanta did throw out like a really good incentive package to get teachers to come to the
Right.
city of Atlanta. And I think this was within the last couple of years. And I do know some really good teachers that
Yeah.
they made a transition. So
Yeah.
maybe it's in the pay, because I do feel like teachers have been underpaid. Maybe it's something
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But from where I can control, my vision would be to just try to come alongside of the school and support the schools as much as possible.
Some years ago, and I'll move from this, but some years ago, it was in 2010, there was a big push down at the state capitol because the state was not fully funding public education.
Mhm.
And I just so happened to be one of the speakers that was there that time, and I entitled the message the death and resurrection of Georgia's education. And
Mhm.
kind of to your point, teachers and schools are having to really do a lot of the work on their own, whereas the state is not funding the public schools in the manner in which they should. Otherwise, driving money in other places. But no, no, thank you for that. So I want to ask you about Fairburn in and of itself and about the district for which you're running for. What is your district composed of? And what do you see, if any, is the need in your district?
All right. So this is going to be very easy. It's going to be different from probably everybody else you've ever spoken to.
Oh, that's
Fairburn
all
is
right.
at
Yeah.
large. Fairburn is at large.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
we
Okay.
we have 6 council members. We have and a
Got
mayor.
you.
And so we rotate.
Got
So every 2 years, 3 seats open up for election. And so
you.
right
Right.
now, I'm running for
Okay.
one of the 3 seats that's open now. And
Got
so
you.
when
Okay.
we speak
Okay.
to the issues of our community, and let me throw one more nugget out there. We got about 17,000 residents. And so when I speak to, the issue of my district, I'm really speaking to the
Speaking to
entire
the yeah, yeah,
entire
yeah.
Fairburn.
There's no question when it's at large. No,
Yep.
I completely understood that. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
Yep.
I
So
didn't I
oh,
didn't
go ahead.
realize. No, no. Please continue.
No, I was just going to say that as far as my city is concerned, the things that are important to them right now is affordability. There's a utility spike that
Okay.
people are impacted from, and we're not the only city. We know there are other cities impacted, but that
Right.
doesn't mean we don't need to be looking for solutions. So
Okay.
we're there. We also have an affordability issue with our taxes, which
Okay.
has also spiked. Kudos to our city leadership because they were able to keep our millage rate pretty much consistent, and they've done
Okay.
that for a number of years. So I
Right.
give them credit for doing that. But probably over the last 6 or 7 years, our values jumped up, our home values. And
Yeah.
so if you keep that rate the same, but the values jump up, after assessments and exemptions, you're
Yeah.
still seeing a significantly higher bill.
Right.
And so what we want to do there is just make sure that we're hearing what's going on and look for ways to make things more affordable, especially for our seniors.
Right.
You know, hey, things are tough out here, and you have seniors that have worked their entire lives to be comfortable, and now with a
Right.
fixed income, a $500 water bill can
Oh yeah.
disrupt their entire life.
Yeah.
And so we want to be listening out for that. Outside of that, infrastructure is important to the citizens here. As I knock on the doors, we have things, congestion on our roads.
Yeah.
We do have. Fairburn is a city that has a great location that's
It
attractive
does.
to factories.
Yeah.
We're along the train
Yeah.
lines,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and where we're situated, we're landlocked with Union City, Palmetto, city of
Correct.
South Fulton, and
Correct.
so we do have that industrial zone that we have to, coexist with.
Right.
And so, how do we make that work? How do we keep our roads up, and how do we keep our traffic down? Because sometimes it can get backed up. And then I would say that development is something that's important.
Right.
Not so much the residential development, because I'll tell you, a lot of people in Fairburn feel like we grew a little too fast.
Right.
But we want to do smart growth, smart growth. We don't want to block all residential, but we want to be smart about it, bring the right development for our community, and then our downtown district could use some refreshing.
Yeah.
Um,
As you were talking, I was thinking about it. I was like, do I even know where Fairburn downtown? But I had to think about it. I do know where it is, but I
yep,
was like, yeah, it could use some refreshing. But
yep.
no, please continue.
No, it's very similar to
Yeah.
like I've worked in like downtown Lithonia,
Right. Right.
Douglasville, the
Right.
Marietta Square,
Right.
downtown College Park has had a resurgence over the
Yes.
last 10
Yes.
years.
Yes.
East Point, so
Right.
you're right on that main street,
Right.
and then
Right.
you have those old city buildings, and then
Right.
it's like, okay, how do you maintain character of and the charm of your city, maintain your historical value,
Right.
but properly grow around it and
Listen,
implement some new
one of the
spaces.
things I'm most cautious about riding through Fairburn is going down Roosevelt Highway and not speeding too much.
Well, that goes back to when I was 16 years old at
Yeah.
Creekside High School.
Yeah.
You knew when you came on Roosevelt Highway, you better slow it down.
Yeah.
I must say it ain't a lot
Yeah.
changed on that one.
Listen, to this day,
Take your time. Take your
it's the
time.
exact same. I don't play when I come through the city of Fairburn.
Yep.
That's right. It's good to to chat with somebody who is truly a Georgia boy, a homegrown person. So Ryan, what is it that you want the constituents to know? What is it that you need them to know about you, and why you are the best person for this role now?
I think what I would want people to know is that I truly love this city, and I'm ready to fight for them. I tell them all the time, I'm like, I know this is a job interview.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. I want to work for you.
Right.
But I think more than anything else, I have some great ideas. I have great ideas. I have a lot of things that I would love to advocate for.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that is the character and the viewpoint that I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I believe in servant leadership. I
Yeah.
believe that just like it says in the Bible, you're supposed to seek justice, love compassion, walk humbly,
Right.
and that's the lens through which I view things. And so I think quite naturally, when you're running for office, you're always talking about all of the things that you want to do.
Right.
You're knocking on doors, you're getting, hearing from the constituents, and you're like, okay, these are things I want to implement. But a majority of the things that are going to come across your desk are things that are unforeseen. And
Right.
so it comes back to who are you as a person,
Yeah.
and what things are you, what things will you truly stand for, and
Yeah.
what things won't you stand for? And for me, I'm going to stand for the people in all situations. Everything that comes across my desk, in my mind, it's like, is it good for the people? And
Yeah.
if it's not, we're going to have to scale it back. We're going to have to
Yeah.
revisit it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm all about accountability as well. On our council, you have 6 members. And so, if it's a 3-3 tie, that means that the mayor makes the decision,
Right.
to break the tie. And I know a lot of times people can kind of get hung up on, different issues. But for me, it's just I don't care what that other number is. My number one is to look out for the people of Fairburn. And I don't care if I'm outnumbered. I want to stand on the right side of history.
Right.
And I again, they know how to find me. So I have to, I
Yeah.
gotta make sure I'm a man of my word.
So that was going to be my next question as we get ready to come to a close. How can people find you? How can people get involved? What is it that you need in this push to get you over the hump?
So at this point, I was thinking the biggest thing that can work out for me is if I can get on WCEG, if I can get on the People's Choice. I'm telling you,
Gotcha.
that's
Yeah,
all.
love
That's
it.
all I need.
Love it.
No, but man, I'm online. Trotter for Fairburn.com. Trotter for Fairburn.com. That's Trotter. The number four Fairburn.com, and I'll put it in the chat as well. And that's how you can find me. I'm also on social media under my name, Rian Trotter. And I'm easy to find. I mean, it's Fairburn is
Right.
still one of these
No,
towns.
we know.
But what I need is just I need for people to understand that local elections are not the elections to skip out on. I know you open with that. I
Right.
couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
People have the idea that the presidential election is the most important,
Right.
but it's like, no, no, no. What your roads look like and what we do with your local tax
Right.
dollars,
Right.
that's very important. You need to show up. And I'll tell you, just being out here in the field, the voters here is mostly our seniors.
Yeah.
They're our main voters, and I'm just like, come on now, we
Right.
got to
Right.
step it up.
Right.
So there's opportunity there. I think we should all be spreading the word. We should all be posting the peach. Reminding people that it's time to go and vote.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. I definitely want people to vote for me, but even bigger than that is I want people to vote. And I feel like, especially here on the local level, we have an opportunity where the country's climate is very divisive.
Mhm.
Everybody's kind of, tearing each other to
Oh,
shreds.
yeah.
And it's like,
Oh,
okay, well, leadership matters. It's not coming from the top down. Let's see if we can do it here and
yeah. Right.
work it up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That makes a huge difference. Ryan, I can't say thank you enough. Just at how candid you are and how enthused you are behind the work that you do outside of even running for this position. There are a lot of individuals, again, who run for political office, again, because they're tired or because they want change. Not everybody's running because they want to continue on the efforts of what they've already put forward and want to continue the work that has already been taking place. Most people are running for selfish ambitions.
Mm.
I can honestly say in this conversation with you, I didn't hear any selfishness surrounding Ryan Trotter for Fairburn, and I'm floored. But I mean, I interview a lot of people, a lot of candidates, a lot of elected officials, but yours is more. It's what it was intended to be in the first place, right? And what I mean by that, and I
Mm.
always give this example of who we elect in Congress. The person that we send to Congress is supposed to be the person you, I, and somebody else. We, are farmers, and we live in this community, and we know what we need. But I can't speak that well. Neither can you. But he can, and so we
Hmm.
send him to advocate on our behalf. But that's not who's going to serve in these positions anymore. So you are that person that these positions were created for, someone who can advocate for not just himself, but for the future and for our current and for everything that is to come. And so, Ron, I can't say thank you enough for joining us here on the People's Choice. But before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say, any plug that you want to give so that the people know that Ryan Trotter is the man to vote for in the city of Fairburn?
Um, So I'm new to this political thing, right?
All right, that's
And
quite all
and
right.
I'm and I, again, I appreciate your words because that is encouraging.
Yeah,
That is like that's a battery in my back
yeah,
to
yeah,
go that much harder
right,
because like you said, this is what it was intended to be, and
yeah,
you've been in this space for a long time. So I just want to make people who fought for us to be here to be
right,
proud of the
right.
work that I'm looking to do. But I think the last thing I could say is just that this is something that we've been called to do.
Yes. Okay.
There's a scripture that Jeremiah 29:11.
Okay.
It's one of everybody's favorite verse, right? I know the plans I have for you,
Yes.
plans to prosper you and not
Correct.
harm you,
Correct.
and give you a hope in the future. But
Right.
just four short verses before that, there's a Jeremiah 29:7, where it talks about them, God leading them into exile, and he says that you are supposed to seek peace and prosperity.
Right. Right.
And then he says, pray for the city, because if it prospers, you prosper. And
Mhm.
so I would just say that I would encourage everyone to pray for your city,
Yes.
and to seek the peace and prosperity of your city, because if it prospers, I think we will prosper.
Ryan, I'm a Black Baptist preacher. I feel like you was about to pull a text and just start carrying on. I thought you were about to tune up right there. I was ready for it. I'm over
Well,
here
both
getting
my
ready to
dad is a
start jotting
pastor.
down now.
My
I was
dad
like,
is a pastor, and my father-in-law is a pastor.
there so no wonder. Listen, I felt all of that. Yeah, I was like, you just running for council? Yeah, no. Ryan, thank you so very much. Thank you so much. And we here at the People's Choice on WCEG wish you all the best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard here on the People's Choice, the Rian Trotter, who's running for council member in the city of Fairburn, Georgia. You know where it is. Don't act like you don't know, because you slow down too when you go through there. Listen, make sure if you are a citizen in Fairburn, you go out and you make your voice heard. Voting is the only way that we can get anything done. Again, Ryan, we want to say thank you so much for joining us here on the People's Choice. And in the future, if there's anything that we could do to help you in this role, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to get your message across. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Joe Flint, all one word, like a tribe called Quest. And we want to thank Rian Trotter and his family and everybody for allowing us to be able to talk with him on today. Remember, election time is on the rise. We have, I think, not even 2 weeks, or maybe just under 2 weeks.
7 days.
7 days before the election dates. And forgive me, the dates are not in front of me, but when election day has come. I just learned today that some children are out of school next week for election day. I'm like, I was never out of school for election day, but I guess now they can't even vote, but they're going to be out of school for election day. But listen, if they can make time aside to let the children out, you can make time to go out and vote. Please make your voices heard in every municipality, in every area that you're in, but specifically for this show, make your voices heard for Rian Trotter in the city of Fairburn, Georgia. Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And remember, these views are the views of the host and the guests of the People's Choice, not of WCEGTalkRadio.com. Good night, everyone.